units. The General Secretariat's role is facilitating and coordinating, and I also have a role there as the deputy, where the General Secretary is the Minister of Post and Telecom. And so happy to be part of the conversation today and share any views, especially from a policy legal perspective from Cambodia. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And your legal experience is going to be an interesting angle as well today. Finally, Sigit, sir, can I give you the floor?
Okay, thank you, Serge. Good afternoon, all. My name is Sigit Kurniawan. I'm as a Director of Strategy and Director of Cybersecurity Strategy and Cryptography from National Cybersecurity and Cryptography Agency Indonesia. Thank you for Mr. Amorn for inviting me for the great events to share our experience from Indonesia, how to we manage our national cybersecurity. Our agency is coordinator for all cyber issues, cybersecurity, cyber defense, and the other cyber-related crimes. So my responsibility is for how to create a policy, national cybersecurity policy, and how to all the government sectors in line with our national cybersecurity strategy. And my role also for the international cooperations, both bilateral, regional, and multilateral. So, and then we engage with all multi-stakeholders, for example, private sectors and academia, and also the citizens. So, like Serge mentioned, that cybersecurity should, as the teamwork, so we create the collaborative actions for all multi-stakeholders, not only in Indonesia, but also in a global area. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to your perspective as well. So after this small round of introduction, we know about where we come from and what we do. Let's go around again, because I'd really like to know what are the major threats that we're facing right now. I'm talking cyber threats. 4 countries that are actually covering a large part of Southeast Asia, all the 4 together. So I think if we do a little inventory here, it gives us a good idea what the threat is at the moment, where it's coming from, and how it's affecting our societies. Sothie, can I start with you again?
Okay, thank you. The most cyber threat in Indonesia is ransomware. Yeah, ransomware. Ransomware is the big, the most threat in Indonesia that we identify. And the second is about the misinformation and disinformation. We know that we now currently use AI, how the deepfakes, the actor use the deepfake to share their false informations. So, and then the last is about the vulnerability of the government websites that injects by online gamblings, because online gambling is a big issue in Indonesia, because gambling in Indonesia is illegal. So we know that all the threats in Indonesia not only come from Indonesia, but also from the outside of Indonesia. We identify more IP from the outside of Indonesia that attack to Indonesia. And for ransomware, maybe you have learned about, from the news that Indonesia have attack incident cyber for national data, temporary data national data centers last June. So it's a big attack in Indonesia. So they ransom for the data, and but we can mitigate as well for the ransomware attacks. So all the threats we identify daily, and we report to our boss to how to mitigate, and we can create information to share our stakeholders about the threats, and so they should be aware for the threats. So, thank you.
Okay, so I hear ransomware and misinformation, but you actually mean disinformation, intentional disinformation attacks, and does that come from nation-state actors?
We don't have any identifier for state actor, but we identify the crime actor, real multi-crime actor, and maybe hacktivists, because for elections, for example, for election last year, some of attack using of disinformation and misinformation to share the public.
Thank you. Rear Admiral, how is that in Malaysia?
Okay, I will approach it in a slightly different perspective. I mean, threats are common everywhere. But we'll focus on the internal arrangement within the Malaysian Armed Forces Cyber and Electromagnetic Division, because it is a newly established organization, just coming to 5 years, and our main challenge is actually in developing and maintaining a robust, up-to-date and state-of-the-art cybersecurity monitoring system, and trying to be in speed with the fast evolving technology as well as its supporting infrastructure. The second critical challenge is in getting a fresh subject matter expert in to back up or replacing the existing cybersecurity expert that we have in our organization, because currently the organization is 100% manned by the military personnel, and so they are very fluid and they have to move around to continue with their career progression. So there is on manpower aspect. And finally, of course, the next challenge is building a resilient, effective and efficient cybersecurity network, linkages among the various agencies and parties, be it in the military, enforcement body, commercial entities, as well as the civilian and government organization for information sharing, reliance, and further coordination action. So I think that is the main challenge that we face internally within Malaysia.
So to summarize, what are the largest threats at the moment?
I think this the common threat of what been faced by other countries, as well as ransomware, misinformation, those kind of cyber threats.
Thank you very much. Some of the media wizards, can you please get rid of this little messaging thing on top here? Can somebody do that for me?
I think that's for the translation, real-time translation for into Thai.
Ah,
We
I
are
didn't
not,
know.
We are not
Thank
hacked.
you. Okay, keep it
We
there.
are not hacked. so
Disregard my
it's
question.
okay.
Thank you for that. It
It's
looked
the
like,
real-time
text messaging.
translation.
Very nice. I learned something today. Thank you very much. Well, since you're having the mic, Amorn, can I ask for Thailand? What's the situation?
I think we share pretty much the same environment regarding the threats. We are concerned for the ransomware, which right now for many cases it will be related with data breach, because many organizations now are getting better in backup and recovery the data. So less and less we pay the ransom, but now so they threaten to sell the data, to be multiple extortion. And we've seen multiple cases in Thailand that if you don't pay, then they will send a message to your client, because they got the name list and how to contact your client. So even though you don't care about the key to recover your data, but now you might have to care more because they will try to destroy your reputation. So that's the evolvement that a couple of years ago, we just learned from it that it happened to the other country, but now it starts to happen in Thailand as well. So it's not just about the ransomware, but it's multiple extortion. Okay. And of course, we have some problem with the misinformation and disinformation, but not only the political gain, but also it turned into the scam. People, they will be cheated online or by the telephone call, because it's interrelated to the data breach. They might have your personal information, but once you pick up the phone and talk to the bad guys, they will provide you the actual information about you to entice you to transfer money. Okay, so those are the two types of threats we are facing for the organization, for their server, hardware and software information, and for the people as well. And I think that's almost the same everywhere. But one thing I might add, addition to the current threat that we have now, is more concerned on the supply chain risk. Okay, because many of the system that we have problem, we are not the one that develop the system, or many organizations even not the one that maintain the system, but the outsource, the other company develop and take care of it for us, and that's another problem that complicate the matter, because if it's our own system, we can take care of everything, but many of them are on cloud, or we ask the other organization to maintain it for us. But when the bad thing happen, you are the one that face the problem with the legal and also the bad reputation that came with it. Okay. And regarding the threat actors, we see mix. Of course, they are cyber criminal. Okay. But there are a few cases that we suspect to be involved with the APT as well. Okay. Regarding the information that they're looking for, usually for the data breach and cyber criminal, sometimes they want to get paid quick, so it might only take months. But for the APT, sometimes it takes years. And we will learn about them after there was some bad malware that restart the system. It keep rebooting. And then you found out that, okay, that's something that we have learned before. But before that, they might infiltrate the data and make some political or some advantage decision based on the information they have from us. But that is not happen very often, but it's very high impact every time it happens. Okay.
So supply chain risk or supply chain vulnerability is actually what we're talking about. Creates a problem because it's a way to gain access into our systems. So we call it supply chain risk, but it's actually the risk of somebody else getting into your organization. It's still access, right? According to MITRE. So that's an avenue that we need to close. It's a door we need to close. And we can only do that by looking broader around our company. And that's the reason why we need to look more at SMEs. The smaller companies are all providing services and products to the larger companies. So the smaller companies are way less mature. So that's why we need to protect the smaller ones too. And many countries right now have great campaigns to help SMEs become more cyber secure. And I think that's a very important point you're raising there, sir. Next to that, yes, ransomware gets more complicated. Triple ransom, double ransom. Cyber criminals communicate and collaborate together on the dark web. They learn from each other. So we'll get on that later, but we need to learn from each other as well. Otherwise, we cannot keep up with them at all. Thank you, sir. What's happening in your beautiful country, Sothie?
Thank you, Serge. I share the sentiments of my colleagues. With respect to cyber threats and cyber risks, because of the cross-border nature, you can see that the challenges are very similar in the region. And within Cambodia, I would have to say, I would share these threats as well. But if we were to pin it down, what would be the main threat? Excellency Air Vice Marshal already mentioned, is scams. And that is for this reason, we also had the ASEAN Digital Ministers meeting last week. I've actually been in Thailand 2 weeks now, this is my second week. But in the past week, the ASEAN Digital Ministers came together and agreed that the combating of online scams is a priority. And during this time, actually, my minister, we entered and renewed our MOU with Excellency Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of MDES of Thailand as well, to combat online scams and collaborate on digital projects as well. Now, what I would like to say on what we're doing with these cyber threats and scams as well, because of the cross-border nature of these threats, it's important, as Serge mentioned, collaboration across borders. And so that's why, and I'm sure we'll talk later about ASEAN, the ASEAN mechanisms and such. I do want to finally note, since we spoke about supply chain risks, the law, cybersecurity law frameworks, legal frameworks, and this is why you'll see it across the region, is being updated. Because the traditional way of looking about how to regulate cybersecurity is you designate cybersecurity critical information infrastructure and you apply heightened cybersecurity standards to them. But these critical information infrastructures also deal with SMEs or other vendors. They store their data on cloud service providers. So how do we ensure that these vendors, cloud service providers, and other companies within that supply chain also have cybersecurity or heightened cybersecurity standards, while also understanding that not all SMEs can meet that heightened level of cybersecurity standards because of cost or technology. And so then comes the need for updated legal regimes that are in ways creative and take those points into consideration. And of course, the law is a law, but there are efforts that must be made outside of the law, such as raising awareness, education, and such.
Yeah, thank you. That legal framework is, of course, very important when we address the whole problem. It's not just about technology, it's not just about people, but also about protocol that's often laid down in frameworks, policies, SOPs, and so on. So scams mostly is what I hear. Scams in Indonesia as well. I know in Indonesia, in Singapore, scams is also a big issue. And that's, of course, the whole population is suffering from that. I hear disinformation. Again, the whole country, the whole population is suffering from active disinformation campaigns that are being planned on a higher level. And there's a lot of money and a lot of effort put in disinformation campaigns, the same as cyber attacks. This is not something that happens just with a beer on the bar. A disinformation campaign is a very well planned and organized and funded attack on a society, on a civilization. And those are very difficult, first to spot and second to protect against. So we're all suffering that. So my next question is, how can we collaborate more together to reduce the risk of these threats? Because they're not going to get less. The world is destabilizing. There are a few governments that are creating intentionally a lot of chaos at the moment. Hybrid warfare, the only goal for hybrid warfare is to create chaos. And our countries, our people are suffering under that. What can we do to reduce the risk and the damage that these disinformation campaigns and scam campaigns are doing to our countries?
Okay. Okay, thank you. For the reducing risk national levels, first we create a national risk assessments. So we know what's the vulnerability in our national level and how to mitigate with risk treatment plan for the national levels. And we create some regulation or policy regarding the risk. And then we create this framework standards that how the national critical information infrastructure should comply with our standard and policy. So we can reduce the risk in critical infrastructure. So we creating collaborative actions with national cybersecurity strategy for all governments, but of both central government and regional governments, that the government should involve multi-stakeholder, like a private sector, and then academia and the community. And for the private sector, we engage with the regulatory sector, government regulatory sector. For example, we have critical infrastructure information sector. We collaborate, we work together with all the ministry, and we work together with the associations, how to make our ecosystem in cybersecurity in Indonesia. For the how to facing misinformation in citizen, we are always conducting the cybersecurity literacy for all levels, from the students, elementary schools until the high school, elderly, disabled community, and also the women, because the women is in Indonesia the most targeted for the cyber social culture. For example, the pornography and others. So we create all the ecosystem, all the culture to robust our posture in cybersecurity.
So education, very important. Thank you for that. Amorn, what is Thailand doing to protect its population against these threats?
I think the biggest change that we have done is to modify or create additional law for the Computer-Related Crime Act to counter the online scam especially. And also the government have created the anti-online scam center. And in that centers, there will be three main organizations working together. The first will be the police, the MDES team, and also the bank. So because usually if you want to do something with the criminal, the best thing is to stop the flow of money. So the anti-online scam will help in freezing the transfer of the money after the victim had informed us about the mule account. Okay, so hopefully that will help with the deterrence for the online scam. Okay, but it's still in the development even further. There was some discussion about to explore the shared responsibility framework that Singapore have passed about the shared responsibility. Just in case that someone got cheated online, then the mobile operators, the bank, and consumer have to share the responsibility. That will be another law that will be passed. Okay, so hopefully that could help slow down the process. You may not be able to eliminate all the bad guys because right now usually you might be able to catch some, but only the operators, but not the head of the whole operation that still got the money and recruit and build a new team because they have the know-how already. So the other part that we need to do, so not just the government that to provide the cure, protection, but we have to make the people realize that this problem is just like COVID. You cannot rely on the doctors, medicine, or nurse, or hospital, but you need to have your own protection. You need to learn to protect yourself. You need to know at the end, before you transfer money, then stop and think. And that have to be brought up to the level that will be suitable for the current cyber world that we are facing. Otherwise, there will be the continuation of development of new scheme, new technologies, and if the citizens still relying on the government to take care of everything, we might not be able to be a good cyber citizen and be responsible. Because people are asking for silver bullet. People are asking for some magic medicine that when we do this, everything will be safe. Yeah. But usually it means that there will be sacrifice for freedom, sacrifice of easy process to do things. There will be more steps to do things. There will be monitoring and surveilling every move. For example, how do you stop the romance scam? It means that before you accept a new friend in social media, someone have to inspect their profile. They have to take care of you, not to allow you to make new friends. And then they can stop you from romance scam. But that's not what we want. Okay? We want our citizens to be equipped with the knowledge, to be equipped with the muscle memory on how to respond to the cyber threat. And I think that's what we need to do. Okay? People are kind of look at the public awareness. It's something that's so common and it's not very effective. But you cannot look at it that way. You cannot skipping out on that part. You have to create the awareness and protection, and that's how we inject the cyber vaccine for our people to be able to withhold all the threat that happen to them regarding the scam.
Thank you. You're hitting a lot of very important points, and it seems like Thailand is working at very different angles in solving this problem. The reason that there is so much cyber criminality is because it's very complex, and it's very complex to teach our people, like you say, to be resilient against this. There is no silver bullet. There is no one vaccine that you can use and then all the problems are gone. This is through the whole society and also horizontally. So it is a big problem. The other one I loved a lot was when you said just follow the money. Make sure they cannot benefit from their scam. So we call that imposing costs to the criminals to make sure that whatever they're doing, it's not worth it anymore at some point. So if they cannot cash their money, then they have to find something else. So a lot of people think that Bitcoin or crypto is the solution for that. But actually that's also not true, because using Bitcoin, you can follow where Bitcoin is going. And you might not have an identity, but you can make a fair guess at least where it's going. So thank you very much for that. So every country has its problems and is working on them, but it seems that we all have the same problems, because here, the threat actors are the same as well. We're talking about the same APTs. There's only a handful of APTs that's bugging the world at the moment. And cyber criminals are everywhere, because they can. But that's a different level. We're not talking APTs now. So if we want to work together more in the Asian area, what options do we have at the moment? What frameworks are already in place that we can use to step up our collaboration? And I'd like to hear the Rear Admiral first, please.
All right. Okay, coming back to the topic of our discussion, challenges for cybersecurity cooperation in ASEAN region. So being practitioners as well as involving in making policies and at both local and regional, I feel guilty if I don't share what is already in existence within the context of ASEAN. But first I will just elaborate a bit more on other challenges faced by ASEAN with regard to the collaboration in cybersecurity. I will not elaborate very detailed, but I just highlight the important things. One is talking about challenges in policy alignment. So that's one area that we need to look into because it varies from every nation. Differences in technological advancement. So this is also another great challenge for each of the ASEAN countries to cope up with each other. Trust deficit based on the background, the historical background of this region and so on. Cross-border data sharing because the threat can come from anywhere. So it's quite difficult to pinpoint. It might be coming from a neighboring country as well, if not external power. The other one is the role of international cooperation. So it's not only within ASEAN, we do need engagement with external parties. And last but not least, the varying level of digital maturity. So these are some of the main issues that have been faced by ASEAN country. And at the same time, I believe there's already quite a number of initiatives and strategies that have been put forward within ASEAN. One of them is the ASEAN Cybersecurity Cooperation Strategy 2021-2025. So that's one good initiative. We have also the ASEAN Cyber Defense Network, the roadmap and guidelines in which it is established to enhance regional cyber security cooperation among ASEAN member states. It is to link the cyber defense centers of ASEAN member states in facilitating joint exercise and sharing of best practices. And the goal is to build confidence, preparedness, and expertise in cyber defense among ASEAN countries. And the list go on, and I would also recommend some initiatives such as to have a unified cybersecurity framework for ASEAN, the capacity building for less developed members, trust building mechanism, regional threats intelligence sharing platform, and also leveraging on international expertise strategically. So all that have been mentioned is actually, it's already been established within the ACDN roadmaps and guidelines that been prepared. It is still in a draft paper, been passed around to all member states, and we are looking forward for the year 2025 up to 2031 to ensure that whatever initiative that been put forward can be agreed upon by the ASEAN country. Then I think with that, it's matter of executing what is already in plan. So there's so many initiatives that we have already established within ASEAN. Now it's the time to make sure that it is being executed. Thank you.
That's so great to hear. So I understand there's actually quite a lot of initiatives already there. It exists already. The connections are being made. The frameworks do exist, but now it's time to fill it up, to make it work, to get people in there, to make sure we share threat intelligence, we train together, we do incident response together, and all that. Thank you for bringing up cross-border data movement, because I'm sure Sothie has something to say about that.
Thank you, Serge. With respect to cross-border data movement, I mean, the Rear Admiral had already mentioned the data sharing and how countries with different levels of maturity, not only in terms of cybersecurity, but also in terms of legislation, in terms of development, and in terms of policies as well. And so I think in terms of collaboration, building trust, keeping dialogue, continuing dialogue, and discussing, right, where areas and where policies align is the first step. So us being together today, this convening that the NCSC has done is an important part of that process. Now, in terms of interoperability, we have DIFA, right? The Digital Economic Framework Agreement, a very important agreement that is currently being negotiated within ASEAN that will help align data sharing policy, cybersecurity policies across ASEAN countries. And when we say ASEAN, we can't forget about the dialogue partners. So that means countries like Japan, US, Australia, even important stakeholders like the World Bank and such are dialogue partners of ASEAN. And so they are part and they assist and contribute to agreements such as DIFA as well, which help align all ASEAN countries in terms of the alignment of policies and the interoperability such as data sharing. And we expect that with DIFA, the economy of ASEAN will grow tremendously. I believe the statistic is 2 trillion by, if I'm not mistaken, 2030, I believe. But yes, to sum up, guidelines, agreements like DIFA are the initiative that will promote the interoperability across this very diverse region. And we also have free trade agreements as well, like RCEP.
Thank you. I see everybody nodding in agreement. I think this is a very nice summary of what's being done at the moment and what we can use to enhance this collaboration more. We also, I think, all agree that we share the same threats, the same threat actors, the same risks. We're in the same area, sharing roughly the same cultures. So what I would like to know now, very shortly, what's, according to you, the single most important thing we need to do now to really increase our collaboration to a higher level? Just shortly, Sigit, please.
Okay, thank you. We need a confidence building measures for all ASEAN member states. So collaborative actions that we have cybersecurity cooperation strategy should be implemented. And then cybersecurity is not only computer science issues, but also social culture, defense, crime, and the other issues. So all the related issues in cybersecurity, we should work together. Not only against in cybersecurity, but also crime, cyber defense, or cyber socio-cultural. So we to work together. we have ASEAN Cybersecurity Korean Committee. So we should concrete action for all cyber issues. How to we facing the cyber threats, and also the reducing the risk to the ASEAN member state. And also the last is how do we create the same level of capacity in ASEAN member state, all country. We should enhance our capacity for all country, and so we can secure and protect our regional, so we can enhance our cyber resilience.
So in summary, what's the single most important thing you think we need to do now?
Confidence building measures.
Confidence building, beautiful, thank you. Sothie, go.
So for me, I just want to echo what the director said, but the main thing is we support each other, and how we support each other is we need to talk to each other more. So we talk to each other, dialogues like today, like right now, but also in other mechanisms and other ways as well, bilaterally and multilaterally. The Rear Admiral also already mentioned many ASEAN mechanisms, and we need to utilize those as well as bilateral discussions and dialogue. So we need to talk to each other more across countries, and we need to talk to each other more across sectors. The director already mentioned, cybercrime does one thing, cyber defense one thing, cybersecurity does one thing, but across sector is important as well. And in terms of supporting each other, you know, we don't want threat actors to use the weakest link, right? Certain countries are strong in one area, weak in other areas. Other countries are strong in other areas and weak in other areas. We support each other so that threat actors don't use whatever a country is weak in to attack or to cause issues for other countries. So I would say supporting each other, talking to each other more.
Yeah, well said. Thank you very much. Dialogue, all levels, horizontal, vertical, and also cross-border, especially cross-border. Yeah. Rear Admiral.
All right, I just to highlight that within the ASEAN Roadmap Initiative, I think there's three key areas that we have to look collectively. One is build and enhance trust in cyberspace. The second key area is to establish strong collaboration for cyber defense. And the third one is strengthen collective cyber defense posture among ASEAN member states. But all these objectives could not be materialized if individual countries' government do not play their role well. And I believe the main challenge is to have the political will to move forward and to ensure that all the initiatives being put forward can be materialized and come up with fruitful outcomes in the future.
Creating political will, very important, of course. We all know what we talk about, but the guys who really make the decision above us, the ministries, they need to understand. And I recall my time as a CISO when 85% of my time was educating the board about the risks. And I believe that's what you're talking about on a different level, but it's all about making them understand who make the decisions with the frameworks in place, so they give us the tools so we can do what we need to do. Lovely. Amorn, I give you the mic for the last time. Time is running out. Hit it.
Okay. I think collaboration, which is the main topic for today, collaboration is like love. You cannot force someone to love you. And you cannot force our country to collaborate. It's the willingness for us. The political framework, the agreement, the bilateral, those is the environment. But to actually make it happen, trust is the main thing. And hopefully we have the continuation of exchange of ideas, exchange of information, and work together. I think at the end, that's what we will reach for the goal of collaboration. But at the end, it's not just the collaboration that we hope to build the synergy. Because right now, one of the threats that we are facing and make it quite difficult is that the hackers are now using just cloud service provider to hack us. They no longer have to hack some university computer and attack the other. They can just pay money. Or because scam, because social media platform have fake advertisement. So one country cannot do it alone, but we all have to work together at the same voice of ASEAN to provide basis for collaboration and to produce synergy for the whole region. And I think that's how we will win.
Wise and final words for this panel discussion. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you very much for your time, your experience, and your input. And I wish the Asian area a lot of love. Thank you.
What an insightful session. A heartfelt thanks to our panelists for sharing the insights and expertise. Next, may I please invite Air Vice Marshal Amorn Chomchoey, the Secretary General of NCSC at the National Cybersecurity Agency Thailand, to present the token of appreciation on stage to our speaker. If you could please step to the left side of the stage. The first token of appreciation is to Rear Admiral Dato, Pahlawan, Mohd, Fadzli, Kamal bin Mohd, Mohaldin, Assistant Chief of Staff Operation and Training, Royal Malaysian Navy from Malaysia. May I please invite Kurniawan, Director of Strategy for Cybersecurity and Cryptography, National Cybersecurity and Crypto Agency, Indonesia. Up next, His Excellency Keo Sothie, Secretary of State, Ministry of Posts and Telecommunications from Cambodia. And the moderator of today's session, Captain Serge, Christiaans, CISO and Airline Captain. All panelists and speakers for the group photo. Thank you so much, all the panelists and moderator, for the amazing and insightful session. Now, before we move on to the next session, allow me to wrap up the previous session in Thai. สำหรับ panel discussion ในก่อนหน้านี้นะคะเราได้พูดถึงความท้าทายในการร่วมมือกันระหว่างประเทศค่ะในภูมิภาคอาเซียนนะคะในเรื่องของ Cybersecurity นั่นเองค่ะซึ่งถ้าฟังจาก panelist ทุกท่านแล้วนะคะ Cyber threats ในปัจจุบันที่เกิดขึ้นเนี่ยเรียกได้ว่าเป็นมีความคล้ายคลึงกันนะคะในหลายๆประเทศไม่ว่าจะเป็นประเทศไทยนะคะอินโดนีเซียนะคะมาเลเซียหรือว่ากัมพูชาค่ะจะเป็นเรื่องของสแกมนะคะ ransomware ร์ค่ะ misinformation นะคะการโกงการหลอกเงินค่ะรวมถึงความเสี่ยงต่างๆนะคะจากการ outsource นะคะหรือว่า supply chain risk นั่นเองค่ะซึ่งการร่วมมือกันในระหว่างประเทศนะคะก็จะต้องเป็นการที่แต่ละประเทศเนี่ยมีการคุยกันมากยิ่งขึ้นนะคะการช่วยการร่วมกันพัฒนาโครงสร้างหรือ infrastructure ใน Cybersec นะคะที่สำคัญที่มีความแข็งแกร่งมากยิ่งขึ้นนะคะรวมถึงการให้ความรู้นะคะ educate กลุ่มประชาชนค่ะเพื่อเพิ่มความรู้แล้วก็ความเข้าใจนะคะในเรื่องของออนไลน์สแกมค่ะอย่างเช่นในประเทศไทยนะคะในรัฐบาลไทยค่ะมี anti online scam นะคะซึ่งได้จัดตั้งขึ้นนะคะเพื่อเน้นต่อต้านนะคะผู้ที่ทำสแกมออนไลน์นะคะโดยอาจจะเป็นการหยุดการเดินบัญชีนะคะหยุดการโอนเงินนะคะทำให้สแกมเหล่านั้นเนี่ยก็จะหยุดด้วยเช่นเดียวกันนะคะนอกจากนี้นะคะยังมีการคุยกันค่ะเรื่อง Share Responsibility Framework นะคะที่หลายๆหน่วยงานค่ะไม่ว่าจะเป็นธนาคารนะคะหรือว่าMobile Operator นะคะจะต้องมีส่วนร่วมมากยิ่งขึ้นนะคะเมื่อมาถึงเรื่องของการสแกมนั่นเองค่ะและในอาเซียนนะคะเราจะร่วมมือกันยังไงได้บ้างคะก็มีการร่วมมือระหว่างประเทศที่มีการคุยแล้วก็มี policy ที่เกิดขึ้นมาแล้วนะคะไม่ว่าจะเป็น ASEAN Cybersecurity Cooperation Strategy นะคะที่ทำขึ้นมานะคะเพื่อให้แต่ละประเทศได้แชร์ best practice นะคะแล้วก็สร้าง framework ร่วมกันให้เกิดขึ้นจริงนั่นเองค่ะ